Hi, my name is Jen Lorica. I'm a comedian and a poet in Vancouver. Before a show, I like to pace around. I try not to eat a couple hours before because I tend to dry heave. And I like to listen to sad music to hype myself up. Sad music is my hype music because, like, once you're down, there's, nowhere else to go but up.
We love to make you laugh. You're very, really with funny. All the jokes we have. You're very, really funny. That's why we do what we do. You're very, really we funny. We love to make you laugh. You're very, really Vancouver, funny. We love your laugh. It's YVR Funny.
Welcome to the stage, Tim Lorica!
Hi, my name is Tin. My pronouns are they, them. For a singular person, I have very little presence. I feel like I have to, finesse my way into getting attention, identifying as non-binary. Or, when I'm having a shot of tequila among friends, I don't do the lime or the chaser, and everyone's always like, whoa, how'd they do that? Yeah, I feel like the last couple of years have been really difficult. I feel like we don't really want to talk about it, but if we don't talk about it, we'll die on the inside, right? None of this feels real. Nothing feels real these days, That's what I said to myself as I transferred money from my savings to my checking account. You know the move, right? It's fake. Just trying to feed my stupid body, and interact with the world somehow. Are you guys having sex? When you're having sex and you're like, what's the next move? That's what this feels like right now. Yeah, I haven't done stand-up in 3 months, and I feel like I'm disappointing a whole room of people, not just one person. COVID. A couple of months ago, it became medically necessary to text my doctor a photo of my boob. I had to fight to get an in-person breast exam because my doctor insisted on a video appointment. And what's the point? I could have done that on Omegle. I had to fight to get an in-person breast exam. And I finally got one, and it was scheduled on Valentine's Day. Very fun and sexy time for me. Feels a little bit like a bit from the universe. Good news, though, I don't have breast cancer. I just have eczema on my left boob. Just the one boob. Yeah, as a person of color, one of the types of racism that I experience is the one that I do to myself with my consumption of dairy. You guys know what I'm talking about? This year I'm trying to be emotionally honest with where I'm at, and I'm just trying to admit that I am lactose intolerant. It's a real condition. It's not a personal failing. That's what I have to repeat to myself. I've been doing well though, like on a weekend night, I'll just like pop a lactate pill and hope for the best, if I want to have a good time that night. Diet cheese is good harm reduction, but it tastes like butt, not in a good way, but like I'm a good millennial, like I'll eat what is served in front of me. We're talking about cheese here. Shout out to oat milk, though, right? Oat milk's killing it. I grew up Catholic. Anyone else? Yeah. We're all renouncing it in this room. I had a very Catholic upbringing, went to Catholic school. I feel like if you had a Catholic upbringing, it informs a lot of your choices and who you are as an adult. Like, it informs my order at McDonald's. Filet-O-Fish on Fridays. My vaginismus. My lack of knowledge that you were supposed to pee after sex. But that's on the Calgary Catholic School District. So, like, very Catholic. I didn't even use a tampon until I was 23. Like, the first time I used a tampon, my body rejected it. Water-based lube is a really good solution for that. And atheism. I work in customer service. I work at an online organic grocery store remotely. So I have the pleasure of having angry white moms on juice cleanses right in the comfort of my own home. Very grateful for my remote position. I don't really get to be creative, as a customer service agent in my emails. So, when I'm not having a good day, I'm like fighting with a customer or whatever, like the best that I can do is imbue my quiet anger into my sign-offs. Like a little passive-aggressive gift, Like when I'm signing off kind regards, it means respectfully kill yourself. When I write warm regards, it means burn in hell. Kindly. And my personal favorite is cheers. Because that's the one where I summon the spirits of my ancestors to put a generational curse on that customer's offspring. Okay, that's it for me. Bye.
I love stand-up because it's like a rush, like an ego rush. I like it because it kind of like tickles me that I'm like laying down my logic to the audience who may or may not get it. I think that's so much fun. The thing I don't like about stand-up is that like you have to be good at networking, and you have to be like a good hang. And I find myself always like, if there's a table of other comics, I'm always at the end and no one's talking to me. So. I don't think everyone should do stand-up comedy, though. I don't. That's the thing that came to mind. I think that people do think comedy is easy, but then you get up there and it's like, what am I doing with my life? I still feel that way. Yeah. The first time I did stand-up, I basically was just offloading a lot of my life, because I was in the stage of having gotten out of a long-term relationship, and I was just doing the most. I basically, it was just like a laundry list of like my dating life and learning about my identity as non-binary, and telling people to wash their. But yeah, before I even got into stand-up, because the way that I got into stand-up was from doing poetry, and then the very first public like performance or reading that I had of my poems, it was read as very funny by my mentor, and they were like, hey, you should give stand-up a try, and then months later I did. I did get an unsolicited piece of advice with my stand-up when I was new, regarding my diction, apparently. It was, someone heckled me, and then they went into my Instagram DMs later that night and was like, I'm sorry I heckled you. I just don't think that stand-up comedians should be conventionally attractive. They don't exist. And then I blocked them. Yeah, my joke writing process is pretty much like, I know it's kind of psycho based on what other comics have told me, because I do type everything out word for word. And then when I do say it on stage, it doesn't, I mean, obviously I'm not going to memorize every single word that I write, but it does help me, because then I get the gist of, you know, everything I'm saying, and then in a way I am editing on stage, and then I see what works. I try to record myself. I try not to cringe too much when I listen back to myself. But yeah, that's pretty much the process. When I'm like in the moment on stage, I feel like it's not very easy for me to hide how I'm feeling. Sometimes like I do break, and I also laugh at what's happening, like either like an awkward silence or like, I mean, it adds to it for sure. I was trying to be relatable like recently. It was a very white, straight seeming crowd, and I was talking about being non-binary, and I was just trying to be relatable by saying a lot of things that weren't relatable at all, and people didn't get it, and then I like kind of looked down, and that's what they laughed at. So that sort of thing is fun in the moment. I try to do the same material that I do in different rooms. I try not to pander too much, because I feel like I lose the point of my own jokes if I try to like tweak it too much for like, say like a really a more mainstream crowd. But if I'm in a room where there's a lot of queer people or there's a lot of people of color, I do give them more nuance, because they understand nuance. I think with a lot of my writing, like either with stand-up or like poetry or anything, I never feel like I'm done. I try to just let it go if I feel like, oh, I can add this tag to this, but I mean, if you know it's not that serious, I will keep just adding to things anyway. So I'm working on my writing, because I want to be more like concise in my material, but yeah, I never feel like I'm done. I guess something that should change about the comedy industry is that, like, I know that there's a lot more push for like diversity and all that. I think the thing that bothers me about it is that these diverse people are kind of being flung into spaces that they, are not comfortable because they don't have like a mentor or kind of someone to be like, hey, this part of the industry kind of sucks, or like this person is not to be trusted. It's just like, I think like if you're giving people, diverse people spots, they should kind of they should be empowered to be there and not just be placed there to look pretty or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think comedians should be paid for their time, and it's not just the people who are getting into it because it's easy for them. Especially the ones that don't have to hold down full-time jobs that aren't related to comedy or writing or entertainment. I'm saying that because I'm resentful of my customer service job. So yeah, we should be paid. I would like to do comedy more without kind of having to, expend this energy of like, oh, I have to take the bus to this dingy bar, and it's gonna take a lot out of me tomorrow morning, that sort of thing. I'm not thinking about the comedy industry and what should change. I'm mostly just trying to meet my basic needs. Yeah. Is that an answer? I think the most fun that I was having in stand-up was when I was starting out, because I was having like the honeymoon stage where, well, it felt good because obviously I wanted to invite all my friends, and like, that's what you kind of do when you're starting out, but then you realize like, oh, I don't want people just laughing because they're my friends. But yeah, the beginning of doing stand-up was the most fun because I didn't know anything. It's not like I'm alone in my journey as a comic, but yeah, like I mentioned, it's just you're in public and you're exposing yourself constantly, even though things might not work. So that's always the scary part. If you like bomb, people are like not laughing or not reacting how you want them to. If you have like a bad set, or I get it, you need to bomb, but also like it's very vulnerable because you're like, oh, I just told you my life story, you don't like it, sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah, since the pandemic, I actually really did appreciate the time off. It made me, I got to watch a lot of shows, and then that made me kind of more critical or appreciative of the actual writing and all the work that went into it. So I was like, I could, because I'm not doing stand-up right now, I could put in my energy into doing this one day. It was depressing because just before the pandemic, I felt like I was kind of peaking. I was doing it pretty regularly, so to suddenly not have that sense of stability and like, yeah, like I guess, I don't know, I feel like when you're doing well in stand-up, I feel like you come to expect that in your brain, like neurochemically, like it feels good to have people laugh at your jokes and like you. And then for that to go away suddenly, yeah, it was very depressing. My performance was, that was basically me not having done a set in like 2 months, 3 months. So it was a bit of a challenge, but it was really fun to like stumble into doing comedy again. Something that I was doing when I was first doing stand-up was drinking a lot out of anxiety, and I was always like, you know, like it makes me all loose and stuff, but actually doesn't. It made me forget my jokes. Yeah, mindfulness, exercise, and not hating myself.
We love to make you laugh with all the jokes we have. That's why we do what we do. You're why we are funny. Richmond to Surrey, Delta and Deep Cove. We love to make you laugh. We love to make you laugh. We love to make you laugh. Vancouver, we love your laugh. It's YVR Funny.